If you have a 401k, you need to make some investment decisions, and you've come to the right place. Welcome to Lesson 3 of the ABCs of your 401k. This lesson is all about the answers for people who don't much care how investments work. If you'd feel more comfortable understanding how we arrived at these recommendations, then skip this lesson and jump directly to Lesson 4. Your basic choices in a 401k are stocks, bonds, and a money market fund. There may be some choices within the category of stocks or bonds, and there may be some funds which are combinations of stocks and bonds, but for the most part, you'll be deciding about how to split your money among stocks, bonds, and a money market fund. Here's a good starting point. Split the money in your 401k so that 60% is in stocks and 40% is in bonds. That balances the high average returns of stocks with the safety of bonds. Now, this is just a starting point. If you're fairly young, have even more stock in your 401k. Also, if you're good at tolerating risk, then add more stock. Young people with a strong stomach can go so far as to put 100% of their money into stocks. However, older folks, those closer to retirement, should have less stocks and more bonds. Also, people have trouble sleeping at night if they take too much risk. They should have less stock. But don't ever go below about 30% of your money in stock. After you've decided how much of your money to put into stocks, you need to choose what kinds of stocks. I recommend that of your stocks, 40% be in American stocks. Of that 40%, most of it in large companies like the S&P 500. The rest, 6% of your total stocks, should be in small companies. You'll find these numbers at abcinvesting.com. That 60% of your stock market money that you put into foreign investments, I'd like to see you split it roughly 48% into developed countries like Europe and Japan, and the rest in emerging markets like China and India. For your bonds, I recommend a mutual fund that holds short or intermediate bonds. If your only option is a long-term bond fund, here's what to do. Put half of your bond money into the long-term bond fund, and the rest of your bond money goes into the money market fund. You now have a homemade intermediate bond fund. Your company's 401k may not have mutual funds that are this specific. Don't worry, get in the ballpark, call it good. Being a little bit off from these recommendations probably won't hurt you. Once a year, you should rebalance. Here's what that means. If you get your percentages right today, they probably won't be right a year from now. Some funds will have had higher returns than other funds, so your percentages will be different from where you started. Sell some shares in the funds in which you become overweighted and buy more of the funds in which you've become underweighted. Get back to your target percentages. Some folks do this rebalancing every month or quarter, but I think once a year is just fine. There may be a simpler way to do all this. If your 401k offers you a target date fund, that fund will do pretty much what I've recommended. Pick the target date fund with a date closest to when you expect to retire, and then your investment decisions are on autopilot. Whew, we covered a lot of ground. If you'd like to understand the reasoning behind these recommendations, go to Lesson 4, How Investments Work. But if you're comfortable with this amount of investment information, go directly to Lesson 5, Loans and Hardship Withdrawals. Even if you're not borrowing or withdrawing money from your 401k, it's good to understand your options. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dr. Bill Connerly, Chief Economist of abcinvesting.com, and I wrote the book, The ABCs of Your 401k.